Welcome into the Sources A podcast, your go-to Kentucky basketball podcast on the KSR Podcast Network. I am your host, Jack Pilgrim of Kentucky Sports Radio. Very excited to be joined once again by the one and only Shawn Smith. Shawn, how the heck are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Jack Pilgrim. We're moving closer and closer to this thing actually getting started here.
Is that just hard to believe? Like, I was doing the actual math on the days until all of this stuff begins, and we're 18 days away now from Big Blue Madness. Like, that's not just around the corner. That's like here. So it's awesome. Practice is here. The first day of practice was officially on Monday. They had the ramp up post summer where they're still doing the 8 hours per week thing, but Monday marked the official 20-hour allotment where they say, all right, season is here. It's time to practice like you're in season. So very cool just to be here, and the intel that we're getting isn't just like, hey, maybe we have something here in Jalen Lowe. It's, hey, Jalen has solidified himself as the guy, then what? We're kind of getting into the rotations and who's emerging and this type of fit and who's playing well together and some of those sorts of things. So, we're in the weeds. We're right there. We got Big Blue Madness. We got the Blue-White game shortly after. Pro Day still hasn't been announced yet, but it'll be somewhere between those two things. We have SEC Media Days and then exhibition season here in October. So, man, it's going to be a very, very fun time, very fun month-ish until all this stuff really starts ramping up. So, a lot of really fun stuff to get to. So this show is the bulk of it is going to be our interview with Kentucky assistant coach Mikhail McLean. Shawn, kind of preview that. Awesome job. I thought he absolutely crushed his Sources Say debut. We got a really, in-depth, analysis of how these practices are going, kind of how they recruit and kind of set these recruiting boards and who they look for, and kind of how Mikhail has expanded his role as a recruiter as well. I thought he was a blast. I think an absolute surefire rising star in the coaching business. I like that he kind of admitted that he only plans on being here for a couple of years because he has bigger, better things in coaching as a head coach. He wants to, put it out there, kind of speak it into existence that, hey, I want to be a head coach someday. And you want guys around your program that have those type of aspirations. I thought he nailed it, Shawn.
Yeah, you do. Those are the guys that you want as a head coach of a program. You want guys that are willing to want to be a head coach, because that means they're going to grind hard for you. They're going to do those things, and he is certainly that guy. He fits it, and his energy on here was really good. You kind of see how some of that energy and personality can pay off in recruiting when he has those conversations and builds those relationships. But I always enjoy our preseason coaches interviews. But I'm really enjoying the ones we've had so far, this year, and just getting to see the different personalities and different people that kind of make up this staff, and why Mark Pope has so much confidence in these guys. When they speak, Jack, you kind of see why he wants them leading the charge alongside him when it comes to recruiting. So definitely looking forward to that part of the show too.
And last week, very abrupt, kind of just hilarious way all that unfolded. So, Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster of the Field of 68, that was supposed to be kind of just like a sit down with us, just breaking down how practice unfolded. Kentucky practice ran long, Shawn, so it wasn't just going to be a 15-minute thing on top of what we were doing. Practice went long, and they kind of said, hey, we might just have to postpone this. Steven and I had the idea like, hey, well, if you need a ride to the airport to catch your flight, why don't we just be your Uber driver and just kind of turn this into a kind of, carpool karaoke kind of taxi cab kind of deal. And it was hilarious. It was chaotic. And what we didn't show on what went live was actually a blooper that, since we've removed ourselves, so we're kind of a week away from it, distancing ourselves from it. I'll show this kind of behind the scenes look at what actually, and again, I'm producing on the fly. Steven, he just got married. Shout out Steven Peak. He got married. So I'm kind of doing this and juggling this all together. So if I'm spazzing out with the layouts and all that stuff, that's totally on me. But I thought our viewers and listeners would very much appreciate this little interaction with Jeff Goodman and Rob Dawson.
All right, let's do this. So I'm your Uber driver, Jack Pilgrim today. And I almost just killed us. That would have been really inconvenient. Don't put that in there. All right, here we go. We're good.
Please tell me you got that on video. Outtakes, baby. Let's go.
Whoops. So, to my credit, there was some jerk that drove way too fast through the Joe Kraft Center parking lot. I looked both ways, as you can see my eyes. I double checked that before I put that out there so you guys can see it. I checked. I looked both ways. I was pulling through slow. I did everything that I was supposed to do, but some jerk came flying through and almost killed all of us. So that would have been a really, really inconvenient just kind of turn of events for us here on the Sources Say podcast. But guess what? We didn't. Everything ended up being just fine, and we made it through. So shout out Jeff Goodman and Rob Dostler. They crushed it on that episode. If you missed that, make sure you go check that out. But another fun one here to come with Mikhail McLean. So a couple of quick notes before we get to that interview, Shawn. I thought it'd be cool to just kind of run through some of the latest happenings here in Lexington and around the SEC and so on and so forth. Big news. Bruce Pearl, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. I can't believe, just out of the blue, here we are on the first day of practice. Monday, the news breaks that Bruce Pearl has decided to hang it up forever. After 11 years at Auburn, he is retiring. And Stephen Pearl, his son, we've heard the whispers and rumblings that Stephen Pearl was going to be the eventual replacement. But not only are they just giving him a test drive as the head coach, Shawn, they're throwing him the keys and saying, floor it, kid. Let's see how this works. Giving him a 5-year deal to be the next head coach of Auburn basketball. Your take when you saw that Bruce Pearl was out on the plains?
I mean, we were just talking opening the show about how close it is, right? And how it's you're not around the corner, you're on the corner. Like you're right here to the season starting. And that's the news in college basketball, that the mic drop that I didn't see coming. I mean, I think it makes sense for them to go the direction they're going with Stephen Pearl, given the continuity and the way Bruce Pearl has led that program to multiple Final Fours, numerous SEC championships and stuff over the last few years, and just the success that they've had. And, Stephen Pearl's built a reputation there of kind of being his right-hand man, and a guy that at some point, when it came time, that they were going to hand the keys to him. So I would say, Jack, that in recent weeks and months, this has probably already been a transition that's been happening, I would say, when it comes to responsibilities and duties. But it was one of those things that every time, when it comes down to coaches retiring and making these decisions now, none really surprised me anymore, but this one did. Just because I know how passionate Bruce is, and you see it on the sidelines. And this was a guy that was on at times when there was talk about Cal leaving, and when he did leave, would he be the guy that was here? And a lot of people thought that he was trying to play his way to getting possibly this job at Kentucky. So I guess I was just stunned because I didn't see it with him coming this way. But I'm interested to see what happens with that program, and if Stephen Pearl can continue to take it the direction it's going, because it's got a solid foundation now. But we know what comes with that is they built some expectations on the plains, and if he's not Bruce, could be a tough situation.
Could you imagine if Bruce Pearl was the next head coach at the University of Kentucky, replacing John Calipari, and then 1 year into it, 18 days before Big Blue Madness, he decides to hang it up and give it, that'd be like Brad Calipari getting the job at this stage, like, could you imagine the backlash from BBN of, okay, not only is it pretty rude to do it this close, to do it in general just a year after getting the job, but for it to be like weeks ahead of the season to do it, I think it made the most sense for, his one sticking point with everything was Stephen Pearl gets the job. What's it going to mean? That guarantee, the timing of it guaranteed that there were going to be no viable candidates at this stage for anybody else to take it. It made sense if his one top priority was to make sure that his son got the job. That was the way to do it. So congrats to Bruce Pearl on getting his son the job. Congrats on a Hall of Fame career. Brought Auburn basketball from a total irrelevant entity to one that was a national powerhouse, consensus #1 team all year long last year, juggernaut. He was one of the best in the game at its peak. So, he deserves credit for getting that program where it is, and we will see. As you said, that's now a very hungry fed. You fed the fan base. Now let's see if you can continue to kind of, get that craving taken care of if you're Stephen Pearl. So we will see. TBD. Rolling through a couple of these other ones. We got the CBS Sports Classic and Champions Classic tip times, Shawn. And I think what BBN finds interesting with this is not just one, but both of them. Kentucky gets the early time slot, and I think it's kind of situational for both of them. Champions, I think 11 of the last 14 years for Champions Classic. Michigan State got the early time slot in all of them for whatever reason. I think they just know that the fan base doesn't travel all that well, but if you play Michigan State, you're getting the early time slot. Sorry about your luck. So I think that was kind of expected, but the one that really kind of sticks out is that 12:30 tip for Kentucky St. John's. Now that's a day with NFL going head to head. That's a day with the college football playoff will also be going head to head there. So I think the early time slot actually kind of is the prime time game because everything else kind of happens after that. So I think they did that very intentionally, that even though it doesn't work that way in the sequence of events, but Kentucky St. John's is the CBS premier game, followed by the garbage Ohio State North Carolina game, and then later on we get Houston Arkansas is going to be a blast, but CBS knows that Pope versus Pitino is going to be the ultimate draw. So 12:30 down in Atlanta on December 20th. Your take on those?
Yeah, given the spot in the calendar, that is a primetime matchup, right? Like, even though it's early in the day, that's still one of those primetime ones that gets the day started, and you don't have to wait all day to look forward to it. You're already going to wait all week getting to it. But Champions, I mean, you're right on Michigan State. I think one of the few late times they've had may have been the Tyrese Maxey year, where it was 1 versus 2, Kentucky, Michigan State. And that was the later game, I believe, that season. But every other year, you're right, it has been Michigan State playing early. Now, I know you'll probably agree with this, but all the years that I covered that late spot, and it was brutal. Like getting back to your hotel at 3:30 in the morning and having to get almost
getting stabbed by crackheads outside of Madison Square Garden. That's not fun. I really am glad that I will not be getting stabbed by crackheads outside of Madison Square Garden this time.
That was my
thank
fault.
God.
That one. I will forever wear that responsibility for putting you in that situation. But
Correct.
We survived.
Yeah.
Sources say almost didn't exist beyond a couple of years there. That was almost
you thought that Jeff Goodman video was bad, me just getting in a parking lot car crash. Imagine me getting that would have been much worse. But hey, we survived. We're all good.
That one, have we? Have we ever told that one? That may be a week of Champions Classic story that we can kind of dive into.
Yeah.
Of how I ended up on the wrong side of Madison Square Garden and left you at 3 a.m. Actually, you were on the wrong side of it.
I was on the right side because we were 7 steps away from our hotel room, but you ended up on the wrong side of it. And it was just, we'll share that story. We're only a couple of weeks away from November 18th. So we got plenty of time to throw you under the bus for that one. A couple other notes before we get to our interview with Mikhail McLean. Reed Sheppard, new role for him, kind of comes in unfortunate circumstances for the franchise and for Fred VanVleet, familiar name and face for Kentucky with a Wichita State connection there. But he tears his ACL this week, just a couple weeks before the season starts in the NBA. So Reed Sheppard, they were already talking about him kind of being, hey, number 3 pick, sophomore, you were kind of a no-show in year 1. Now is the time to prove whether you belong or not. And he's going to have basically the keys to the franchise alongside Kevin Durant and, some of the bigger names and faces coming off a number 2 seed in the Western Conference. So expectations are going to be super, super high. Reed Sheppard's going to have the spotlight put on him. So it's kind of a, hey, put up or shut up, kid. Let's see what you got. What do you think about Reed's new role?
I mean, it's a role that I think he's ready to step into, and a role that the reason they drafted him in that position a little over a year ago was for situations like this, right? Where maybe he didn't get the run that you thought he was going to get as that pick in the draft, that top 5 pick. but now you've been able to see what he can do in some G League stuff. You know that he's ready for the moment by playing at Kentucky. Like that, this is a position where I expect Reed to thrive in this role and really step and put his prints on that organization and as an NBA player. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Reed can do, but this is definitely going to mean an increased role for him for sure.
Speaking of increased roles, and I don't even know what the segue is going to be to this, but Mark Pope and Pat Kelsey nearly got in a fist fight. Apparently, increased roles in the need for boxing gloves in Lexington, maybe, or November 11th when Kentucky and Louisville take on each other. I just want to get your take on this story because I think it got a little blown out of proportion based on what I heard about it. And very long story short with this is Mark Pope, Pat Kelsey meet up at Kenny's apartment to start the recruiting period. Midnight is when coaches are allowed to be there in person with recruits. Mark Pope on the docket for 12 o'clock on the dot, midnight, and then Pat Kelsey shortly afterward. Pope is a couple minutes late. Pat decides to jump in line and meet with Tay Kenny first. Pope sees that Pat Kelsey's coming out as he's coming in going, whoa, I was supposed to have the first slot. What gives? And it kind of leads to a back and forth banter. Apparently they hug it out and everything is totally fine leaving, but definitely got heated there in an exchange between the in-state coaches. So maybe not all the love and, oh man, I just think he's the best coach to ever walk the face of the earth, the way they both just been, it's like brothers brawling in the backyard. Well, maybe we got close to an actual brawl in the backyard. What did you think of the alleged back and forth between Mark Pope and Pat Kelsey outside of Tay Kenny's apartment?
I mean, if it's anything, it's fun for the fans, right? Like it's fun to kind of say, is the rivalry back? Is it? Because I mean, with Mark Pope, and it's hard to you think you got a great guy, great human being. Is he going to stir things up at all when it comes to a rivalry? And Pat Kelsey, obviously, I think is a likable guy as well from a lot of angles. So if it took that to create some type of dust up when it comes to the fan bases to be like, all right, I hate you again. Like I've always hated you, but now I hate you again. I'm a big fan of it and probably wasn't anything crazy, but when you're competing for an in-state kid and you're both there and then given the hour of the night that it is and you're kind of leading the charge, and it just goes to show, how much passion there is in this rivalry, that if that's going to be a storyline now leading up all the way to November is what happened there. And then just anything that creates a rivalry, Jack, within this rivalry, I think is fun. That wasn't really a fight, but still, I'll take it. Did you lose me?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think my big brain take of all this is, hey, Kentucky was already falling out for Tay Kenny to begin with. I don't think Pope ever actually thought he was going to land him, at least over the last month or two. So my take is he knew that Pat Kelsey was kind of desperate to land this kid. So he shows up and just kind of throws a little mini bomb in there to hey, if I'm not going to land this kid, I'm going to stir up some stuff and kind of be off-putting to Tay Kenny and be like, hey, I have these two coaches fighting for me outside. And the timing of all of this feels very Tay Kenny knows he's going elsewhere, so his side leaks like, isn't it hilarious that I had two coaches, the two in-state coaches were fighting over me and neither of them are going to land me. Like, it just kind of gives that kind of water under the bridge, leaking something when we all know that nobody's involved for this kid anymore. It just kind of feels like intentional timing. I don't think anything of it. It's good for the rivalry, but I think it was a little manufactured drama ahead of a commitment day. So let's wrap up real quick with this. Some practice intel. It is the first week. We're going to get plenty of it from Mikhail McLean. Talking about just how things are going, what to expect as we kind of really start ramping things up over the next week or two. Heard to start this week that Cam Williams is balling a little bit, Shawn. That Cam Williams is kind of, we talked about some of the ups and downs of him, kind of addressing some of that physicality and learning how to take on bumps and, getting to his spots and, some of the issues with ball handling. But, maybe he is just a super high level 3-and-D guy for Pope this season. I've just heard he's making shots and really just kind of building this confidence that he just didn't have over the course of the summer, and that Cam Williams has kind of been the early MVP, if you will, of these early practices. Heard some good things about Mo Diabate and Denzel Aberdeen really just kind of setting the tone while Otega Oweh's still waiting for him to come back. He's a week or so away from getting back to full strength, and then just some, kind of waiting and seeing on guys like Andrea Yelovich and some of the, Jasper Johnson. Those are two kind of big wild cards for Kentucky, showing some nice flashes, doing some nice things, but really kind of figuring themselves out in some other ways. So anything that jumps out at you in some of the early intel coming from Kentucky practices to start this final stretch?
I think obviously that we have so much confidence in Mo Diabate and Denzel Aberdeen. Like that is, I've asked the same question to multiple people that we've had on the show, Jack, because I want to know if like my confidence in them is just a universal confidence that everybody else has. So I think that hearing that they're kind of leading the charge and doing their thing, it just gives you even more confidence in knowing that Kentucky does have a preseason top 10, top 5 capable team without the guys that are ready to roll right now, without JQ on the floor for Kentucky. So that solidifies that confidence for me. With Cam, I think it's one of those things that you hadn't heard anything when it comes throughout the summer. So it's good to hear that now that transition maybe is happening a little bit smoother now after he's had the summer here, because he is a 3-and-D potential guy for Kentucky that fills a role for some of those questions that we've had about, will this team shoot it as well from the perimeter as last year's team? Will they get up the same number of threes? Will they make that same percentage that they shot a year ago, or can it go up, or will it dip? So I think hearing all that intel is really encouraging. But to me, it's all about Mo Diabate and Aberdeen. Like those two guys that just have so much success at the highest level of college basketball and getting to the pinnacle that Kentucky wants to get back to. Those guys lead the charge, and I think that hearing that is probably the most confidence boosting thing that I already had confidence in that took it to another level.
Yeah, and to wrap up, Jalen Lowe just continued to hear unbelievable things about him and just him taking over as the co-leader of this team alongside Otega Oweh. Just really, really impressive things about him, with one caveat being that we're starting to see some kind of availability. I wouldn't even say issues, but just little kind of bumps and bruises popping up here and there where he's missing a practice here and there. That, he wrapped up last week with a minor groin injury. Great news was he was back on Monday, is back in the full swing. That was the expectation, that he was kind of, they were off Friday, Saturday, Sunday to get ready for Monday. So they wanted to give him a full 4-day weekend to really just get back on schedule and back to full strength. So that's just something that I'm monitoring. That's a really important position for this team. You can't afford Jalen Lowe to go down. He needs to be on this floor for the team, and we'll see. But when he is on the floor, I've heard just above and beyond unbelievable things about him and who he is as a leader, who he is as a talent, and just such a quick first step and finishing around the rim and making shots and just doing all the things that they really needed. I've heard that as crazy as it sounds, as high as we were on Lamont Butler, that we may have gotten an upgrade at the point guard position, which sounds insane because we know how good Lamont Butler is, but that's just shows how what you should be expecting with Jalen Lowe and the role that he's going to fill for this team. So very exciting stuff. You're going to get more excited after hearing from Mikhail McLean here on the other side of this break. We appreciate him coming on, and we'll wrap up from there. But for Jack Pilgrim, for Shawn Smith, we will see you next time on the Sources Say podcast. Go Cats. We are now very excited to bring on our next very special guest, Coach Mikhail McLean. Coach, you're looking good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing, Jack? Shawn, appreciate you guys for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we wanted to get you on for a long time. You have a very cool story to tell. So we've been looking forward to this, very excited for it. But I guess let's just kind of get rolling into the beginning of the fall. You're back from summer, no more s'mores and campfires and exploring nature. We're back into the Joe Craft Center. How are things going?
Things are going great so far. We got a special group. We're really deep. We have a lot of guys that can do great things on both sides of the ball. So it's been a lot of fun so far, man. Our guys are getting after it. They're competing, and they love to compete. Like, I mean, heavy emphasis on love to compete. So everything we do, if there's no winner involved, they don't want to do it. So we love that.
I asked AB this last week, last time we had him on. Do you feel like a Kentuckian now? Like, is it starting to hit you now that this is kind of a real life deal for you?
Yeah, no, it definitely it feels like home. It wasn't probably until February that walking in Rupp began to feel normal. I mean, like every single like when they're doing the national anthem and then they do the fireworks at the starting lineup, like I just take a second, I look up and I'm like, man, I'm at the University of Kentucky. You know what I mean? So Kentucky feels like home, man. This is a great city. My wife, my kids, they love it and they've embraced it. So we love it.
What has been your favorite thing about Kentucky now that you've been here a year, whether it's something with basketball in the program or just something with the city of Lexington? What has been your favorite thing about being here so far?
Non-basketball, my favorite thing has been the parks. Like the parks here are outstanding. Like my kids, like there's so many great parks here, man, and like every one of them's a little different. So for my kids and my family, the parks, and then just the fan base. I mean, this fan base is literally insane, for the good and for the bad. But it just gives you the closest taste of what it's like to be a part of a professional team. But we're college, and there's no one like it. So I mean, I love it.
You have an interesting journey, and just kind of want you to open up a little bit about that. You know, starting as a player, transitioning into playing under, coaching alongside under AB's dad. Just kind of how did that dynamic work out to kind of get you where you're sitting today?
Man, it's an interesting story. So, I moved from the Bahamas to Houston when I was 14. Went to high school. Ended up earning a college scholarship to the University of Houston. So, Coach Brooks recruited me to Houston. He had just got. This is so crazy how the whole circle. So, he had just gotten done at Kentucky. He was in his gap year transitioning to another coaching job. So, he was doing training with John Lucas in Houston. I was in the gym. He was working out some of the younger guys from the Bahamas. He came to watch us play open gym to see those younger guys. And he saw me. He's like, wait a minute, who is that? Why haven't I seen him yet? 3 weeks later, he got the assistant coaching job at the University of Houston. He was like, hey, I know you're visiting all these places, but I would love to have you here. And I was like, I mean, it was a no-brainer. Like, I mean, it's Houston. It wasn't what it is now, but it had such a rich tradition, and just kind of staying close to quote unquote home, it was important. So getting a chance to play for him for those 5 years at Houston, getting to see him transition from with one coach and coach James Dickey to Kelvin Sampson, then getting to work alongside him for the next 6 years at Houston, then 3 years at Lamar. I mean, I've literally been with that man from 2010 to 2023. So he's a big part of everything I've been able to do as a player and a coach for sure.
Walk us through how the Kentucky job happens. How does that phone call happen to where obviously the connection with AB, I'm sure that was a big part of it, but for you to actually get the job offer and say, whoa, I'm going to Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's crazy. So me and AB are super close now. We were pretty semi close before. We had never worked together. We had no history together, except when I was in high school, he was at Bradley. He tried to recruit me to Bradley, and I hit him with a smooth. Come on, bro. I'm not going to Bradley. Like, I appreciate you reaching out, but he was relentless. So, so the job opportunity happened. AB actually reached out to me and saw if I had some candidates to fill the position that they had. He's like, hey, do you have some few people in mind with this background, this, and this? So, of course, I sent him like 3 names. After I sent him those 3 names, I reflected. I said, also, I would actually be interested in this job if it's available. Like, you know what I'm saying, if you think it fits. And he, walked me through the pros and the cons of if I took you. I said, bro, listen, it's University of Kentucky. Hell yeah, I'm in. Like, just put my name in the hat. So he put my name in, and the interview process actually, I mean, it was very interesting. Like, I had no connection with Mark Pope, with nobody on the staff outside of AB, kind of. And I interviewed with Coach Pope, a true interview for 6 weeks. Like, it was a 6-week process. We talked on the phone a couple of times. He was actually recruiting at Adidas. I was recruiting at Adidas. So we sat down for about an hour. We did, I guess, my informal interview. And then we FaceTime. I got to FaceTime with Miss Leanne and himself, with my wife. And we got to know one another, and I literally pulled myself out by week 4 or 5. I was like, I'm not getting this job. Like, I was like, I'm not getting this. So I'm in the middle of open gym with our team. I was playing open gym with our team at the time in Lamar, and I get a FaceTime call from Mark Pope. I'm like, hey guys, I gotta take this. I stepped outside the gym. I'm sweaty. He said, yo, you ready to be a Wildcat? I said, huh? I talked to you in 2 weeks. And of course, my answer was yes. He said, hey, talk to your wife. Don't accept it yet. And I mean, I called my wife. The answer was yes. And I mean, the rest is history.
Take us through what those kind of that interview process was like. What were some of the things that Mark Pope was emphasizing in those conversations with you about joining Kentucky and what it meant to be a part of this program? What was he looking for exactly?
He for sure wanted somebody with he had his staff filled already. He already had his recruiters, quote unquote, and he wanted somebody to bring a different flavor, right? Also to add to recruitment, but to a heavy emphasis on the player development side of it. And then just also with defense as well. So I did a lot of projects. He asked for 1 or 2 of them, and I did a lot of stuff on my own, and I'm not going to deep dive into it, but he got to see how intentional I was with player development and how to make our guys better regardless of position. He was able to see what my background was with working with bigs and forwards and guards at the last 2 spots that I worked at. And I just kind of put something together with the roster that he already had put together, and also with the recruiting class that we recruited, how we can make each one of those guys better month by month. And yeah, the rest has kind of been history.
On that recruiting note, you took the job in a non-recruiting role on paper, but you're on the recruiting trail now. You're directly involved with a lot of that stuff. How important is that for you to Pope kind of let you do your thing and kind of spread your wings and say, hey, no, you can provide value on the recruiting trail for us just as much as any of us.
Right.
What's the value there, and just what has that experience been like to kind of, do it a little bit?
Yeah, so actually last year, I actually recruited a bit last year as well. By the time I got the job, everybody had been hired for about 5 or 6 weeks. So with recruiting, you never want to step on the toes of your teammates, right? We're all a team. I didn't really have anything I can provide because the top guys were kind of already taken. I still went on the road. I went to a couple of events last summer. But this year, with a year under my belt, with being able to kind of get ahead of a lot of kids in the 27 class and a few in the 26, I've been able to actually add that and provide that, along with us being collaborative. Like, okay, like you're covering this kids, like we don't really do regions. It's just a matter of like who has a connection with these kids, with these agents, with these AAU coaches and all that stuff. So I'm actually on the road recruiting right now. I'm in a parking lot right now as well. But it's been great so far.
Coach, I asked AB this a few weeks ago. Now that you all have a year under your belt, how much has that helped with recruiting, that you've been able to put the program out there with film and what Kentucky film looks like with this staff in place?
Yeah, I think a lot of what we were doing was just selling on the vision of what Coach Pope was wanted to build and what he did in his time at BYU. And now with us just being able to have the film of what we've done, to have the story of guys that weren't on the radar at all being drafted in the NBA and getting potential opportunities to make the team as well. Just kind of having a proven product along with what our staff assistants have done at previous stops. It's just being able to kind of marry it all together. And it's a very easy sell now. Obviously, it's the University of Kentucky. Like, what are we talking about? But they're able to show this is what we've done in 1 year with the roster we put together in 3 weeks. And this is like the time that we're able to put into some of these recruits now. Like, we're very intentional with everything that we do, and with us recruiting as a team, not just one guy or 2 guys with 3, 4, even 5 sometimes guys recruiting. We're able to spread that love out throughout, and it's not just one person just doing all of the groundwork.
Coach, you're so proud of your Bahamian roots and where you came from, and coming up in your childhood, and then now even just with the national team and how much that's kind of been a part of your playing and coaching journey as well. Just kind of dig into that a little bit. How did you get involved with coaching the Bahamian national team, being so close to the Olympics? That whole journey was so cool. Just kind of let fans know a little bit about that.
Yeah, so in my time in Houston, I didn't get much of an opportunity to do the Bahamas national team. I was also still growing in my career, trying to discover myself as a coach. And a big part of the sell with taking the job at Lamar, I said, hey, Coach Brooks, like, if I take this job, I really need this opportunity to coach with the Bahamas national team. It's not that Coach Sampson didn't allow it. It's just that the time didn't permit. Like, we're doing foreign tours, we're doing other stuff in the summer. So he said, hey, of course, it's really important. Like, you know, when you win, we all win as a program. And literally, I got the job at the Final Four right before we played Baylor. And then I coached with the Bahamas national team that summer. And we had our younger group of young up-and-coming college guys. We were able to go. I think we were in Honduras and we were in El Salvador. And that was kind of like building, right? We went 4-0 there. And then the next year, we had a few NBA guys. We had Kai Jones and Buddy Hield committed to play. And then we made some splashes. And then year 3 and year 4, which is kind of always the breakthrough at any level, we really finally fully broke through. And Chris DeMarco, our head coach that coaches with the Golden State Warriors, like, he's done a really good job of selling this vision. And we've been really collaborative. And for us to be one game away from qualifying from the Olympics last summer, losing to Spain in Spain, like, we had to beat Argentina twice the year before. Argentina was number 4 in the world. Spain was number 2 in the world. So we're right there. And this time at the 2028 Olympics, I'll tell you, we will make the Olympics. So we're proud and we want to make it and we want to win games in the Olympics.
How much can you use that experience, you know, coaching Buddy Hield, coaching some of these other, you know, Clay was a part of that as well, right?
Clay has been a part of training camp. When we qualify for the Olympics, Clay will play.
So having your hands-on experience with guys like that, how easy is it to go to a Kobe Brea and say, hey, I know what elite shooting looks like. You can be a part of this with me. I've coached players like you before. And then, right, you know, what's the comparison between some of those shooters versus Kobe versus maybe somebody on this next team?
Yeah. No, I mean, the Bayman experience has definitely, I think, accelerated my growth as a coach. You know, I'm very young, obviously, and I still got rooms to get a lot better. But if I can coach DeAndre Ayton and Buddy Hield and Eric Gordon and tell them to get to the bottom or get to this ball screen coverage and show them film and teach them, there's no reason I can't do the same for 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. So Kobe Brea is definitely going to be in that conversation. Buddy Hield, I think, is one of the top 5 shooters of all time in the NBA, and he continues to break records. I think Kobe has a chance to do the same thing. Like, it's just automatic when every time he shoots it, you think he's going in. So I think Kobe's going to be blessed to have a long career in the NBA, and I know he's doing really good so far.
Coach, I know you're focused on, you know, what's coming up this season at Kentucky, but just from where your career started to where it is now, like, what are some of the maybe long-term goals you have in the game of coaching?
I mean, our number one priority right now is bringing number 9. Like, that's what I would love to do. When we win, everybody wins. Our players win, our coaching staff wins. So I think with us having an opportunity to do that this year and every year, I think that will help I want to be a head coach. I mean, I'm not being shy about that. I'd like to be a head coach within the next 2 to 3 years if things go as planned. You know, I'd like for us to qualify for the Olympics with the Bahamas team. Like, I try to be very bold in my faith and my visions and all of that stuff. So obviously, wherever God leads me to, you know, I'm patient. But I for sure would love to be a head coach, regardless of the level at the Division I level. And I'm blessed to be around a great staff that mentors me every day and players that allow me to grow as well. So, I mean, that's the vision for sure.
How much does getting named to, you know, Root's 66 most important, impactful list, things like that, how much does it help your pursuit of your bigger, grander goals in coaching? And just what kind of honor does that mean to you to know that, hey, the efforts that I'm putting in, the work that I'm putting in, it's paying off and it's being seen?
Yeah, no, I mean, just like I said about winning, like when you win, everybody wins. You know what I mean? So Coach Sampson always taught me as a player and as a coach, he said, you want to be where your feet are. You never want to be looking in somebody else's yard and trying to figure out. And that's something I struggled with as a young coach when I was 24, 25. I was like, man, like, why are these guys getting these opportunities and I'm not? And by my 3rd year of coaching, when I stopped looking at everybody else and I just focused on being where my feet are, that's allowed me to grow a lot and be a lot more comfortable in my skin and not compare. Comparison is the thief of joy, not compare other people's situations. So to be named to that list, that's just that's a huge honor, but that's Kentucky. Like, that's us winning in Kentucky and doing what we've done in Kentucky. That has nothing to do with what I've done individually. And I mean, for myself and Coach Brooks, I think it's just great recognition for this great program that we work for.
Coach, you mentioned a moment ago the goals to win number 9, but talk to me about the guy that does wear number 9. I know Trent Noah, a guy that you worked with obviously last season. Just talk about his development from year 1 to year 2 over the summer and maybe what you expect out of his his role this year?
Trent Noah is my guy. I joke about. I always call him the defensive stopper. Trent came into last season with a lot of confidence as a shooter, and not a lot of confidence as a defender. And I've always been taught that defense is just a 1-2. You can trick yourself into being a really good defender. You just got to have a little bit of crazy in you. That's kind of the way I played. Obviously, I was not an All-American defender, but I could hold my own. And Trent has made leaps and bounds as a defender. He still has to get a lot better, but you know, what he would do pre-practice, working on defense, every pre-practice by himself with the managers and the GAs and full court slides and all of that stuff. So I think Trent's made a huge step in his body. He's gotten so much stronger. He's trimmed a lot of that baby fat, and he's still shooting the ball at a really, really high clip, and he's taking a high. He's just a guy that we can trust as a glue guy because he knows how we run our offense and our defense, and he's done a really good job of leading by example with this group so far.
With how hands-on you are, Coach, just why is it important for you to get sweaty and you know, throw your body around and get in the weeds with these kids to show them, you know, hey, I've been there and I've done that, but here is what it looks like on the floor right now with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. Like, you know, in our player development as a program, we're really big on bones over cones. Like, you could put a cone out there, and Jack, no offense, you could run a workout with the Kentucky Wildcats. Like, you could put
hey, I like that. I'll
Jasper
take
Johnson
that.
through a workout. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, we try. I don't do it every day. And I try this year. I mean, our GA group our green team's really good, and we have so many good players. We're really deep. I really haven't gotten an opportunity to practice this year. But with the injuries and all of that stuff, whenever I felt as though there was a lack of energy or a little bit more toughness needed provided, like, I think that's something I take pride in doing as a coach and as a player. So I jump in there and I just foul them and I just play hard. Like, that's just kind of what I was brought up on. That's what my background is. And we had last Saturday's practice, we had a loose ball and somebody did dive on it. They just went and they picked it up and they secured the 50-50 ball. But that's just kind of a pet peeve of mine. So I rolled the ball out there and I dove on it. And I kind of tweaked my groin a little bit doing this. So Father Time's starting to creep up on me. So I need to slow down a little bit. But that's just something I really enjoy doing. I have a passion for defense and energy and toughness.
I got a question about another one of the guys too, a local guy, Malachi Moreno, that I'm very familiar with in his game. What has his progression been like since he got on campus?
Malachi, Coach Feger put together, Coach Feger and myself, we put together a plan for Malachi before he got to campus. Like, I think he got this plan, I want to say maybe January, late December. And it was an on-court. Coach Towner put together a strength program. Malachi Moreno came in ready to play. I mean, Jack, I think you were at USA. Like, the impact he had before he got hurt at USA, like, he was penciled in as a starter for sure, going to be on that team. And he came in ready for college basketball. Like, obviously he's put on, I don't want to make up a number. He's put on a lot of muscle mass and weight. He's in great shape already, even before we got to fall training camp. And he's always a guy that's going to be top 3 in sprints. He's always going to finish at the top. He has a lot of growing up to continue to do, but we've been really proud at how hands-on he's been on his development and improvement and seeking out film. And he has a professional mindset already as a freshman.
When you look at the front court and know that you kind of have that ace in your back pocket with Jaden, how much do you prioritize that time right now with the Malachis and the extended run that they're able to get, knowing that you're a little short without Jaden, while also kind of knowing like, hey, I can't believe that we're this far along with the guys we currently have, knowing we do have a potential lottery pick still kind of coming down the road?
Yeah, no, I give credit to Brandon Garrison. Like, he had an unbelievable summer. Like, he worked, man. Like, he's taken pride, and he's going to have a huge jump this year, and he's been leading that group. He's encouraging JQ when he's on the sideline, and now that JQ is doing more stuff on the court, you know, he's been able to lead JQ, to lead Malachi, to lead Reese Potter by example and with his voice. So for him to take that step up as a leader, and just know what we also have coming in JQ. And guys, JQ's been working, right? Like, he's been Coach Towner and B. Wells, like, since the second this guy stepped foot on campus, it's been every single day, 24/7, Monday through Sunday, and they're working to get him back on the court. But JQ's also been working mentally. Like, he's watching a ton of film on last year's games. He's watching film of this year's team last year, Kentucky's team last year. Mari Williams and Brandon Garrison in some big games, some big wins, and a few losses. So he's learning our system inside out, and he's always been a guy that can outpower people with his body and his athleticism. And he's learned to think the game is going to be scary. So the combination of those four guys, I think it's safe to say we have the best front court in the country with those four guys, with Yelovich, with Mo Diabate. Like, I'm confident saying we have a really good front court that's ready to perform.
Can you dig a little more on Yelovich and just kind of what you make that first phone call, say, hey, here's the vision for you, here's our plan for you. Again, kind of a wild card that this fan base doesn't know a ton about, but I'm assuming we will be learning very quickly a little bit about Jelly.
Yeah. Yelly, Jelly, AJ. I call him the Croatian gangster.
I like that.
He's he has such a mature mindset. He's a European, right? Like he plays the game the right way. We need to tone him up sometimes to be a little bit more aggressive because, European basketball is all about just making the one more and making the extra pass, and that's what we take pride in doing, playing the pop rule where 0.5 seconds or less. But he's so talented, man. Like, he's figuring it out. He's another guy that came in shape. We have not had to spend 3 to 4 weeks to get his body right to get in shape. So he came in shape. He has a professional mindset, and he has a skill set that's a little bit different than Mo Diabate, but they both are going to be really impactful at that swingman, four-man spot.
Coach, I know there's been a lot of talk this offseason about, three-point shooting. Will this team be able to shoot as well as the previous team did? I know Mark Pope is big on power plays and getting those opportunities. Does this roster have guys that can create more of those by getting downhill, drawing a second defender, and getting some open looks?
Oh, yeah. And we can do that with our cuts. We can do that with ball screens. We have 4 or 5 guys that can just do it one-on-one, So I think we have multiple, we can throw strikes, we can throw curve, but we have a lot of different stuff that we can do offensively. And we also have a lot of stuff that we can do really well at a high level defensively. So, we have a bunch of guys that can create those power plays. And we keep saying that we don't have the shooting that we had last year, which is, we don't have a Kobe Bryant that's proven it at the highest level yet, but we have 3 guys that are proven shooters, and we have 3 more guys right behind them. Like, I want to say we now have 6 guys that are shooting 70% on the NOAA right now, which is a huge deal. We didn't have 6 guys doing that last year. So I don't think we have one guy that's the best shooter in college basketball, but we have 2 or 3 that can creep into that conversation. We have 6 or 7. We have 6 or 7 that can do it at a high level as well.
But also, how much does the system help that it creates a better, maybe not the shot quantity, but the shot quality, the quality of the shot that you're taking?
Yeah, that's a big thing we take pride in is, giving up good for great. We have a lot of guys, like you said, that can create those power plays, and we're going to have a lot of opportunities to get easy shots. We have a lot of opportunities to get to the foul line because of the way we space the floor and the progression that Brandon Garrison finished the season as a three-point shooter, the progression that Malachi Moreno and Reese and JQ are growing as shooters as well. We'll always have 5 guys that can make a shot. So with the floor being spaced the way we want, like I said, it opens up opportunities for cuts, for drives, for KDAs, for power plays, and all this stuff that makes us successful. And because of our athleticism, now when we shoot those threes, even if we make or miss those threes, we got 3 or 4 guys that are climbing the backboard to get offensive rebounds. So we plan on making it really difficult to prepare to play against us.
Is the Jalen Lowe hype real? Is everything, all the whispers that we've heard over the course of the summer and early fall, is it everything you dreamed of whenever you got him out of the portal?
So me and Coach Brooks are probably as critical of Jalen Lowe as we can, because obviously we've known the kid since he's been 4 years old. I played for Jalen Lowe's dad in AU, right? Like, so I've literally known Lowe since he was 3 years old, walking around the gym. And the hype is as real as it gets. He's a playmaker. He can score well, but like, he's taken a lot of pride in becoming an elite playmaker, and taking, like you said, the shot quality, taking the best shots available. And he's taking a big step as a defender. That's some of the feedback that he got. He needed to improve as an on-ball defender and ball screens. And he won our one-on-one defensive drill 2 days ago. So he's grown as a defender, and his voice as a leader is elite. So we're really proud to have him on our team and leading our guys.
Coach, is there an area that you look back on from year one, transition to year two, that you individually just say, hey, we have to be better here if we want to win a national championship, get to a Final Four? And if so, what is that area?
I think the area is defense. I think our defense, we had games that we were really, really good. Then we had games that we had big lapses. It's like you could have a game where you don't shoot the three well, but you can do other things. Our plan is to just have multiple ways that we can impact the ball and make teams uncomfortable defensively. So, and we have the roster and the makeup of our roster up and makeup ability. We're built for that defensively. So we'll be able to do a lot of stuff fun offensively. But the things that we take pride in this year, we have three non-negotiables, which we call 100s, and you have to be on time 100% of the time. You have to crash the glass. We call it wedge 100% of the time, and we're contesting every single shot. Even if you're 17 feet away, we're contesting every single shot. So with those two things on the court, it's going to be it impacts the ball on both ends at a high level. And you can control those things. You can't control the shot going in. You can control whether you get the offensive rebound or contested.
We're going to roll through some fan questions that we got. A bunch of good ones. I think you'll love them. Our guy JSP94 says, biggest difference between Kentucky and Houston?
Oh, that's a great question. Kentucky is Kentucky. Like it's we're blue blood. Everybody kind of walks and I don't want to say worship. I'm a man of faith. They're trying to use that, but like everybody wants to be a part of Kentucky. And I want to say Houston, we had to kind of build it from the ground up. So it's more of a blue collar program because of the fact that everything's not given, but it's now turning into, I would never call it a blue blood quite yet, but it's growing into that to where it's a national powerhouse. So Kentucky is where everybody wants to be. Houston kind of has to get it out of the mud to get everything and the respect that they have.
I like that. Devin Hunt, what's it like being under a microscope at Kentucky?
It's great. I love pressure. We love pressure. We all thrive under pressure. So that microscope is actually insane. Like even with recruiting, like there's no secrets in recruiting here. Like you can't text a kid just to kind of start to begin a relationship. Like it's literally on KSR 3 hours. Like you guys are insane. Like I have no idea. I swear to God, you guys release stuff sometimes before our staff knows it. Like it's insane. So that microscope recruiting is crazy. And just, obviously like every game you're expected to win. If you win by 2, it's not enough. You're not allowed to lose. So it's a pressure that we enjoy.
My bad, Coach. Big Blue Savant says, what road game is he looking forward to the most? Nothing like a trap takeover.
Road game. That's a great question. Obviously, I already know what the answer is they're looking for. But our first game in the Final Four when we were in Indy, that's the game I'm looking forward to the most. That's going to be a trap we're going to take over. We got to win 2 big games in there. So that's the one I'm looking forward to. I've lost my last 2 times in Indianapolis with Kentucky, and then with Houston, I lost to Coach Brooks and the Baylor Bears. So I'm looking to get out of there with 2 wins. So that's the 2 road games I'm looking forward to the most.
Hey, Indy has been a bad city for us here recently, so we're all in this Indy fight together. So I'm ready for it. A lot of recruiting questions about just kind of the target on this program's back under Pope, about getting the first big fish, if you will. But the first question, old Doc Cat says, since most folks are talking about it anyway, how do recruits generally respond to Pope? Any patterns to what kind of guys take well to him right away and who doesn't? Also pattern to what kind of players are not fits for Pope in Kentucky?
First off, that's a lot more than 150 characters on Twitter. So that's a tweet. That's a lot more than 150.
Message board, baby. And so you got to subscribe. You got to subscribe.
So Coach Pope has a natural charisma and energy that there's probably been I don't even know if there's ever been a kid that's been afraid of it, but he naturally connects. He FaceTimes nonstop. Like he's not just going to talk to you on the phone. He's going to be goofy with you. He's going to let you know if you're a handsome individual, how handsome you are and how good you are at the sport. And he just naturally connects. So it's rare that it's been that he scared somebody away. He naturally connects and these kids really gravitate to him. And then his pitch and his sell on how he develops these guys, how he crunches the numbers analytically and how our player development program as a staff, how we kind of help develop those guys. And we might not have gotten yet that high school guy that's going to do it, but we have some guys in our roster this year that has a chance to be those big fishes as well. So we're recruiting our tails off to get, that next quote unquote big fish high school wise. And we're doing a good job, but we got some guys in our roster right now that'll have a chance to do it next year.
Me Too says, what does he think about each coach what each coach uniquely brings to the staff, and what are their strengths? So, if you couple of words on all 5 of the core coaches, and then maybe your biggest strength as a coach.
That's a great question. So obviously, Coach Pope he's the leader. He's our relentless leader. I think Coach Fox does a really good job of connecting our staff as assistants. He keeps us really organized, recruiting wise. He's somebody he can give you his unapologetical truth. Like, he can pull you in the office like, hey, coach, like, I don't think that X, Y, and Z went well this way. Here's how you can improve. And he's been an unbelievable resource and mentor for me as a young coach. I think Coach Brooks is also a connector as well. Like, he's the one that really sells us on recruiting as a family. So regardless of his recruiter, my recruiter, who's recruited, like, he does a really good job of connecting us. And he is the catchphrase slogan guy with everything. Like, his brain is nonstop with different phrases and slogans and graphics that he puts together. Figure's the boom guy. He does a really good job offensively, man. Like, he is a offensive savant. His passion for the offensive end, and him and Coach Pope, like, they're just married in that regards. I think Coach J. Hart is the players first coach. Like, he just naturally connects with the players. He relates to all of these guys for what they're striving to be as a 10-year NBA vet. And his offensive genius is underrated, guys. Like, a lot of guys don't give him credit, but like, what he does with our special situations and even some of the stuff we do, like, he's brought a different flavor to what Coach Pope and Figure has done offensively. Coach Robinson, I like to call him Siri. He's the smartest coach I've ever met. He literally has an answer to every single question. So if you have a question, don't ask Siri, ask Coach Robinson. Man Santoro is Mr. Analytics himself, Mr. Video and Analytics himself, and our graduate. I mean, this isn't what the question is. I want to shout out our GA team. Willis Mackey, that was a former player for me. He's done a great job of grasping the NOAA numbers and bringing analytics for Coach Pope and our staff with that. Will Corbin, that just came, he's assistant video from Georgetown. He's been a great resource with analytics and video as well. Fitzpatrick Fitzaroni's been a great resource with our bigs and their development. He works directly with me, and he spends more time with those bigs than I do because I'm only allowed in the court a certain amount. So Fitz has done a really good job with the player development of our bigs. And Gabriel Mackey, Coach Mackey from Liberty's son, Gabriel McKay, I'm sorry. He does an unbelievable job of just bringing joy and juice to the gym. And Jalen Green, not with the Rockets, Jalen Green with us, he does a good job with our guards with development. And myself, I like to lead with love and bring joy and charisma in every gym that I bring in. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff I do schematically and all that stuff well, but I just take pride in bringing joy, juice, and energy in every gym.
Two more, we'll get you out of here. GUU Boy says, what's a typical day like for you at this point in the preseason? What is your primary focus? When you walk in the gym, walk us through your day.
So I'm a family first guy. So I'll start with, I try to wake up, and I used to get to school really early. Like, I've taken pride in having a lot of success, just always trying to be the first coach in, last one out. And I realized I wasn't getting enough time with my boys in the morning. So I wake up at like 5, work out at the YMCA, undisclosed location because this fan base is crazy. I come in, I get my oldest to the bus stop. I drop my other 2 kids to school, spend some time with my wife. And by the time I get to the office, I like to make sure that whatever we need defensively as a group, we try to meet, myself, Coach Brooks, and Coach Fox, and get organized on that front. We typically meet around 10 as a staff. We have our recruiting meetings and all that stuff in between. Then we're on the court like 2 o'clock-ish. Right now, we can't get on the court outside of that 1 hour a day. Well, that changes next week. So try to get in the court a little bit early, try to spend some time with our guys as they're in the training room, just talking to them, seeing how a lot of people forget these guys are human beings at the same time. Like, nobody really asks how these guys' days are going, right? Like, so getting to connect with those guys and grabbing lunch with them if somebody needs it and all that stuff, and just, we have a great practice, finish that out, kind of break down what we're getting ready for the next day. And that's kind of as in detail that I will go to, a typical day is.
All right, last question. I promised that I would ask this question verbatim, and we'll get you out of here. SEC first. Ask him about the elephant in the room. When does he think the staff will land a top 5 high school player?
That is a great question. What was the username?
SEC first.
SEC?
SEC
first.
SEC first.
SEC first. Yeah, we're working pretty hard. This fan base has helped us. It's been a great sell, and we're doing our part, and we will wait and see.
Great answer. Hey, absolutely amazing time. We thank you so much for your time, and no more wasting time with us. Go get that recruit. You're on the road. Go make it happen.
All right, but I'll put my seatbelt. I'll hit the road. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much, Coach. We appreciate you.
All right.